Morning, I hope you're doing well and welcome to today's edition of 600 Seconds of Trading. Today is August 31st, 2018 and my name is Alejandro Zambrano, Chief Market Analyst with TradeCaptain.com and Amana Financial. As we always do at this time of the day, we're going to take a look at the markets and provide you guys with a quick update. I'm going to share with you guys my view on the levels that traders are watching and how they potentially trade. As well, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's moving the market. Before we start though, it's always time to stress that trading financial markets unfortunately is high risk and about 80% of everybody that trades CFDs and Forex lose money. Okay, let's begin. And yes, what's really moving the markets today? Well, it's a lot about this. Argentinian peso, Indian rupee, Indonesian rupee, and Turkish Lira. A little bit as well, South Africa. The currencies of a lot of these emerging markets are under strong pressure, and obviously the situation in Argentina is not great, but Argentina doesn't really matter too much for the say economic growth in the US, Europe, and things like that. In Indonesia, things are actually, as far as I understand, quite good as well, but they're being pulled down by situation that you can see, for example, in Turkey, where you have political reasons for why it is the way it is, and as well as some economic reasons as well. So everybody's sort of feeling a bit of pain in general on the back of this, because it could escalate. Like in the case of Turkey, you have European banks that have lent money to corporations in Turkey, and if the Turkish corporations are not able to pay back, or then that could cause problems for some of these Italian, Spanish, and French banks. So that's really what people are a bit concerned about. In the case of the euro, though, we're not seeing too much action in regards to that. The market has bounced from this buy area I discussed. So I said a few days ago or yesterday that as long as trade above 159.94, this market could head a little bit higher, and I said that traders are probably going to get involved around 1658. The market is right now up with about 26 pip from that level, and there's no reason right now to change anything. I think this can go a little bit higher, maybe 117. Maybe 1722, but then we have all these highs, and of course if we take out the high, we'll go up and then maybe go a little bit higher, but this is strong resistance, so we shouldn't be hoping too much. In fact, I would step back and not trade this short-term uptrend just because of the limitations in this market. But at the end of the day, again, the trend is bullish about 115.94, and there's no real reason to change the bias. Trade below here, probably go down a bit, then up, and then probably down, and then we'll see what happens. Pound versus the dollar is remains bullish, and trend is short-term bullish above the low here from August 29th. On that day, comments from the EU that the UK might get a special deal lifted the pound, and since then the market remains bullish. I think if it goes down to 120 956, I think traders are going to try to buy some more here. I think stops goes below here, and I think this could go a little bit more to the upside. It has the right sort of push. You see this strong candles to the upside, so we are dealing with a short-term bullish uptrend, and we'll see how far this goes. I think we could trade maybe to 130.82, maybe all the way up to 130.150, and then again you have some good amount of resistance levels up here, which the market will need to overcome. Here is the dollar yen, and I have been bullish above this low here, and the reason for being bullish is that the market reached the upside, and we're creating higher lows. So this was a low that was higher than this one, this was a high higher than this one. So I was hoping for this to head to the upside. I didn't trade it myself, but I was bullish. The market moved up and then it moved down, but because of the situation I just mentioned, risk off, you're seeing the Swiss franc gain, you're seeing the Japanese gain as well, and you can see here how this would have been sort of the spot where it should have bottomed out. The market now is moving lower, and I don't think it's not really where you want to be selling, if anything. I did an update on the dollar Swiss franc not so long time ago, and I think that's a better one here. If you look at this, especially if you look from a daily chart, there's just too many highs here, highs and lows. There's just too much support, really, and we're not even dealing with a strong trend. It's a little bit like the euro yen. So yesterday I did an update on euro yen, and I said that, you know, we're trading sideways between the May low and the July high. And yesterday we had some profit taking kicking in, and the market or plug head to the midpoint, which is at the 128.31. So there's no trend here. It's just sort of mean reverting. So I wouldn't get too excited about the dollar yen situation at all here. We need to move away from this here, and ideally we actually trade sideways for another month or so, because then it's going to become easier. You might remember we were looking at this market here in November last year, and you know, I said already here, I said break here takes you to the downside, and then we said break here takes you lower, and that worked out great. And that came about after some sideways price action, and we're seeing some sideways price action now here, but I still think it's a little bit too early. Let's take a look now at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is spiked to the downside, actually. Spiked all the way down to the buy zone that we discussed. In fact, this is, we talked about buying already here when the market moved up above this level. And, you know, this market, I think, you know, moved down, and that was probably it, I hope. And most likely now just head to the upside. And as long as it's above 65.57, I see no reason to change the bias. Here is the price of gold, which is also moving to the upside. Yesterday we said that traders were probably likely to get involved at 1,196.28 or 1,196 really. Why? Because you're dealing with a short-term uptrend in gold prices, and the market did nicely bottom out here, and it's now heading to the upside. We'll see how far it goes, but I think maybe August 10th high, and then we'll see. Take out this level, we'll probably go a little bit upwards again. But again, I feel and think that we should see some reaction in the dollar relatively soon. And because markets don't usually just do like this. They don't usually go from like that. I guess that is every retail trader's dream. That it would be like this, but it's not. Usually trying to pick these lows, let me see if I can try to pick these lows and actually getting it right is very hard. In fact, I think on pretty much all this way to the downside, if you go on Twitter, Twitter, like everybody, as soon as we had a little bit of oversold, people like talking, oh yeah, this is the low, this is the low, this is the low. But it's easy to talk about that when you don't trade. I think most people on Twitter don't necessarily, that are very active and have, you know, thousands of followers, they don't actually trade. They're just analysts, or they just, you know, in it for the fun, for the retweets and the likes. They don't actually trade. And what I'm trying to tell you here is that this situation here where the market just goes up like that is not very common. I mean, it happens, but it's extremely difficult, and if you didn't buy down here, don't feel bad about it. Most of the time it goes up, and then it trades sideways. It does like that, and that's where I like to get involved, because then we can just do something like that. Resistance, support, bullish break, bearish break, something like that. Crude oil, moving to the upside, very close to take out, actually spiked above this high here from the July 30th high. I think this, you know, can go down a little bit, but probably to the upside. I'm going to remain bullish as long as you're above 68.17. And this is the German DAX. It's under pressure. Many stock markets under pressure today. Fortunately, looks like this is going to be stopped out, a bit like the dollar yen. So went all the way up and then down, and now it's trying to challenge the support here. To finish off, let's just take a look at some of the US stock markets. US stock markets right now, the futures markets are around 0%. If we take a look at the NASDAQ 100, you know, it did have some solid few gains over the last few days. I did do a post on Twitter and on Trade Captain. So the break to the upside here should allow the market to rally. I published it on Thursday last week, which was August 23rd. So when the market was here, I published that update. Here, the way it looks like, and looking across many other markets, it would not surprise me if we have a few days of pullback. So from a tactical perspective here, we need to make a decision. You want to book profits, or you want to just hold on to it, reduce stop losses, and try to keep it for that ultimate target at 7,800. There's no right or wrong. Sometimes it's good to take profit. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's better not to do that. But we are seeing some cracks. German DAX is one of those. But other stuff as well, like emerging market indices, like the South African stock market. This one had a nice break to the upside, went all the way up, and then in 2 days literally wiped out. Easy come, easy go. Took 1, 2, 3, 4 days to accumulate, and 2 days to get rid of that. Technically here, this market is still, if it remains above the breakout candle occurred on the 24th, this market could still bottom out, but I have a feeling you might get a little bit more of a squeeze in emerging markets. Let's finish off by taking a look at the Turkish Lira, because it is one of those markets that is driving things right now. So this is the Turkish Lira, and the market is bullish, and this is a 4-hour chart. And you can see that we have a low down here. Now, I don't have like a specific target, but I can tell you as long as you're above this level, this market should remain bullish. And I can't figure out if this is some sort of a pattern. I don't think it looks like some sort of a pattern, but yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell you a target on the back of this. Even the monthly pivot points are extremely far off. Yearly pivot points as well. Yearly pivot points are here. According to the yearly pivot point, we should have stopped at 490, 431. Let's look at the weekly. Even in the weekly, it's just exaggerated. We're just way beyond what we should be. So pivot points are not really helping here. Can we sort of draw some analogy, something like that? Or, well, this little section is 14%. If we have like a similar measure on a break like this, if we just put it on top here, maybe we'll be trading up here. I don't think we're gonna have the repeat of this thing, but it's definitely upwards. I'm not actively buying or trading this market right now. One might get away maybe buying some at 624 stops just below. There will be a risk of 5.4% versus a reward of 12. So that's about 2 times your money. So in essence, this setup and the volatility and then the problems surrounding this just needs to be compared with everything else, because this is a residual ratio of slightly more than 2 times your money. That idea, I just 2 times your risk, what I just shared with you, but that needs to be compared with similar residual trade on any other market. And from that perspective, because this is not necessarily a clear pattern, at least I can't see a clear pattern. With the help of this information, I would be very, very careful. But it's definitely bullish, and if it goes above the high, it would not surprise me at all. There's some serious political and economical issues in Turkey, and the last thing that happened was that one of the deputies of the central bank changed jobs. So he's going to a bank that is owned and managed by the Treasury. And the Turkish president is not going to be able to appoint someone to replace him. And there's going to be a raid meeting, I think, in 2 or 3 weeks' time. And obviously, if they replace this guy, they're probably going to do that with someone that does not want to increase interest rates. Which means that inflation will pick up in Turkey eventually. It will pick up anyway. But they're not going to do anything to raise interest rates to limit people speculating in this currency. To give you an idea, the overnight rate in Argentina was increased with 15 percentage points to 60%. So the overnight rate in Argentina was yesterday increased to 60%. I didn't double check everything, but I'm quite sure that's the annualized rate, which means that if you would speculate against against the Argentine peso, so if you want to go shorted, then you literally pay 60% if you would hold that position for a whole year. So obviously, if you put those sort of things in, it's gonna limit some of the speculation, but as well, it will affect the interest rates of people with mortgages and things like that. And as well, it will cause people to get involved with that currency just because of the high interest rates. So people would rather buy it than sell it. And the issue, though, is that the effects tend to be that higher interest rates will create a recession. And it's more likely that that's going to happen in Argentina, especially now because the IMF has arranged, or they already have arranged, I think a $50 billion package. Some money has already been paid out to Argentina, but the Argentinian government would like to have access to that money, some more of that money already now. So most likely the IMF is going to, push for more austerity, which, if anything, is going to be very similar to what happened in Greece. In Greece, they had to liberalize some parts of the economy, sell off assets, lower wages and things like that. And that, of course, causes lower consumption anyway, so it just reinforces it. And the idea, though, is that it's like some sort of a cleansing, some sort of a detox. So when you got rid of the bad, and it will be bad, then after that you'll come out stronger. But with that in mind, I don't think the situation in Argentina is going to improve. And here in Turkey, I definitely don't think it's going to improve anytime soon, just because of the political situation in the country. Okay, guys, have a good day. I don't think we have any questions. You have various links here. This is the link to the Trade Captain Twitter. Follow that. And then you have another link here to my own Twitter. This is me. And make sure you follow me for updates like this. Some of my ideas and views I share here. I also share some sort of more general news updates and things like that. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Thanks.